Greetings and various assorted salutations. This is more of a reference video, probably intended for my posting as an innovation advocate, somebody assisting with technology in my school, more so than for my students per se. The idea of this relatively short little video is just a tour of what a Canvas course looks like about halfway through, a little over halfway through a semester. The idea of this video is to serve as a reference point for teachers designing their own Canvas courses and things like that. So right off the bat, we'll start with the dashboard where you sign in. Now you may notice my dashboard's a bit different, and that's because you can change it to different views. I have it set to recent activity. That way, when I know if somebody's posted a discussion, sent something in the Canvas inbox, or when there's new announcements to view. And you see you can click on here and get more information. But yes, that's how this works. The to-do list over here, for students, it shows them what assignments they need to be concerned with. There's a little thing that shows what assignments or things are coming up. For teachers, this is going to show you what's currently waiting to be graded and what you have assigned coming up next. So what we're going to do is we are going to jump into my U.S. History 2 Spring 2021 course, which is right here. Now, right off the bat, it takes you to the home page. Now, if we were to look at this from the student view, you will see that these things are not visible. In fact, let's flip that switch right now. You can always view things from the student perspective by hitting that button. And as you can see, this is what the student view looks like. It only shows the home, announcements, modules, syllabus, and grades. But no. And then the red dot indicates there's something that I have not read, or to that effect. We're going to leave student view for the most part because this is a video intended for the teacher teaching the course. Now, the way my course is configured, the home page is kind of the central point where everyone starts out from. And every time you enter my course, you can get to pretty much everything you need from here. So like up here is the top part with recent announcements. The two most recently posted announcements will be automatically listed up here for everyone. And then this is my home page. The home page I can edit right here. And the idea of the home page is it contains a lot of information that students may need to refer to, but may not necessarily use on a day-to-day basis. So for example, on this first part here, I put in an image because that makes it a little bit more homely. But anyways, for what I do here is this first part here is kind of some basic information that you may need at some point. So like modules, announcements, we're still in this mess. And then there's a thing on technical support. Where I have developed a number of tutorials that helps students use the different resources. And what this actually does when I click on this link is it actually takes them to a specific module when it loads. You'll notice my modules page runs a bit slow because as the semester gets longer, the more material you've posted on your course, you get a bit of slowdown there. So this is the technical support sector with some things here to help students out. Depending on how we design things, this may be available to all teachers, as some of the common things are relatively mundane things like what to do if your YouTube video account isn't working, stuff like that. And then what I have here is a sorting page by unit. Now, my course is configured so that there's two ways to get to academic materials in this course. The way that a lot of people can get to things is through modules. So like if you go into modules, like you click on this link here, or you can click on this link here, it will take you to the master page. All the modules are here. All my materials are posted here. So like if we were looking at westward expansion, for example, everything is listed here, one thing after another. This method is great because it's automatically sorting that way. You drop in your assignments, you can build your assignments in modules, and a lot of people like to use modules for building and organizing things by chapter, by unit, or by topic. So like I have a module for that for westward expansion, industry and immigration, one for the improving industry and rights, imperialism, World War One, and I can drop them and pull them up here. And so the exact sorting of how you organize your modules is entirely up to you, the teacher. But you'll find that using them by chapter, by unit, or topic is probably the simplest way. I also have a few other modules. I have like a welcome module for tutorials. I have a reference materials, so like if for like accessing our textbook, accessing some other glossaries, geography tools, the how-to on how to do stuff in this course, things like that. Also, I have a few modules on like what to do during the different situations we have, technical support, Zoom office hours if I'm running those, and some other things as well. If teachers in my school system are interested in viewing my course in more detail, we can visit with that and I can actually show you around in it. That's kind of who this target audience is. Going back to the home page, what I've done, the other way you can access all the unit materials is I've created pages for each of these, and these, a few other teachers, I learned this from a few other teachers. This is a great way to organize student learning. And so like, let's go to the westward expansion page. And what I have here is a page that I have built where I post all the resources that I have for this particular unit and roughly when we're doing it. So like here, we have Introduction to Westward Expansion. That's going to be week 2. And then I post the assignments and resources that we'll be using for that, for here, for here. I also post a link to the unit test. And when the unit test is set to unlock, you can access it here. I also have some general resources here so that theoretically a student theoretically never needs to step into the modules page. Because as you saw earlier, the module page, the longer the semester goes, the bigger it gets, the more complicated it gets, the longer it takes to load. And so by having one of these pages for each of my units, it allows me, the teacher, to organize the information in a way that maybe I like better and that students will like better. Students can also figure out when assignments are due, because if you set the due dates, it will automatically populate into your calendar here, as you can see. The other resource that I typically build for each of my units is I have a unit checklist. And the idea behind the unit checklist is students just get a list of the assignments and when they're due. This is kind of a feature I've added because of COVID-19 and whatnot, but I also do a unit tour where I go through and say, okay, in this unit we're working on this, that, and the other thing. It's kind of like what I would do the first day of a class on a new unit. I also make a video backup because I have a few students who, whether for a variety of reasons, quarantined, out sick, they can access these. And I'm planning on continuing these type of videos even after I finish, even after we get through this whole mess, because athletics really benefits from them. Students who miss a few days, or if students need a refresher, they can look this up at any time and pull it up. I run it through YouTube, but you can record videos in Canvas and store them in your course. So if you don't want to set up a YouTube channel, you can keep everything in Canvas. And so this is what my homepage does. There's a few other things in here as well. I have the Meet Your Teacher page. I have a few other, these are some generic tutorials provided by Canvas to support people and whatnot. So that's kind of, this is the home page. Students spend most of their time on these pages going to one of the assignments. So like they can go in, they can click into here and they get to, here's where you do and turn in the assignment or get the materials for that assignment. Just showing you a little bit more in the tour, I have instructions for each of my assignments and how to turn them in. This is an older version of the turn-in thing. I've actually updated it. It's a 4-step thing. One of the things that I've run into with Canvas that is quite convenient is I can use materials from Google, my Google Drive, or from my computer's hard drive. And students can turn in either Google Docs or Microsoft Word docs in my assignments. In fact, as the semester has progressed, a number of students have decided that they don't want to use one system or the other, and so they use Microsoft Word instead of Google Docs. Um, and I've included instructions, in fact, in the modules on how to switch back and forth between the two systems they want. And so like for some of my assignments lately, it's almost 50-50. I may issue like the worksheet itself in Google Docs, but I get turned in Microsoft Docs, Google Docs, and functionally they look exactly the same, and I can't tell the difference unless I go in there and look at the file type. And so there's a great deal of flexibility for what the students are comfortable with. I know this will be convenient for a lot of teachers who are coming out of Google Classroom or used to using their Google Drive. Any files you created on your Google Drive, they will work on Canvas. Anything you've created in Microsoft Word, it'll work in Canvas. Canvas is very remarkably flexible in that regard. In fact, you can use them almost interchangeably. A lot of people pick one over the other because they work with what they're familiar with. But no. So that's how a lot of people are getting around in my classes. They're using the unit pages to get to different things. Um, I have videos posted in these. I have so like on this page, I have my introductory lecture to the unit, which is based off a video I've recorded in the event that you're either absent from class the day I give the lecture or things like that. Or like, let's see here. This page of the Indian Wars timeline. This has a breakdown of the events. So like this page doesn't have an assignment with it. It's a resource that students use to complete other assignments. So that's that's what a lot of this stuff you're seeing in here is they're either assignments or they're resources to help students with assignments. Also, it's because there's a lot of things I don't use, but I find interesting. I also create a page for each unit of resources that I used maybe to build the unit or resources I used to use, and then I post them into this kind of unused resources page in case students want to dive into more information. So like I have a virtual reality demonstration of World War I American weapons. It's not really particularly useful for the course itself, but some students find it interesting, and this is a place where I can put it. Or like some students are really interested in the Great War, well, there's a link to the British Imperial War Museum's YouTube channel. And so that's kind of the idea of this page here, is some different accessibility, and I have one per unit. Moving on with the tour, let's go back to the home page. Another feature that I have is I have a built-in Bellringer that students do every single day, and it's called the attendance checker. Basically what this is it was configured during COVID-19, some of the other stuff, but the idea behind it is every day the students kind of fill out some basic information, like what are you working on today? Are you expecting any internet troubles? Is your computer giving you problems? Do you have a color of the day suggestion? I put that on the board back there. Things like that. I also have a section in here where if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can message me them. And depending on what the question is, I'll message the students back in either Canvas inbox, through their school email, or in some cases, it's a very generic question and I'll talk about it in class. Like some of the questions I've been asked in the past have been, or comments in the message to the teacher section have been, I'm confused about this assignment. When there's something wrong with this assignment and it's not running correctly for me. One of the other messages I got was like a question asking for more details about something about World War I. And a lot of it's just kind of silly stuff, to be honest. I had a student once post the movie script, part of the movie script to the B movie in there. It's a meme, don't ask. Or like I have students who will go on ongoing debates over things like favorite foods and whatnot. It really depends on the student. Some students, they post nothing or they just leave it blank and hit submit, and that's perfectly fine. The main thing I'm interested in this is it allows students to report, this is what I'm going to focus on today, or this is what I'm working on, things like that. So it's the built-in Bellringer, and I've just trained the students at the beginning of class. This is something that they fill out. One of the most important features, this is a feature that I recommend all teachers use, is announcements. Let's go into that. So the significance of announcements is that you can post, well, announcements. Um, I use it as a way to communicate. So there's a lot of stuff that I'll go over in class, like this is what we're looking at for this week, or there's an important test that you need to be aware of. So like this, when it says other, I've posted an announcement that I've pulled from somewhere else that's important to them or useful to them. So like there's this. I think I've used this category to post things like, oh, there's a blood drive coming up. I also post my instructions for specific days like e-learning days, assignments. What's another thing? I also do like test commentaries where I talk about this is how the test went for people, this is where people struggled, this is where people grew, in generic sense. We'll pull up one of those examples here, but like here's this. Um, the idea, the way I use announcements is that theoretically, if you were gone for like a quarantine, you could go through the announcements and more or less know what we did in class and know what I said at the front of the room at any given point. Um, so let's see here. Here's an example. So like this post is posted on Monday morning, and it's basically saying, and this is what we're looking at for this week, week 10. And it says, these are the assignments that we're working on and are due this week. This is a preview of something that's coming up. These are the resources we're going to be using. And this is how you can get to the current unit and the current unit checklist. Announcements are very convenient for a lot of things. If you sync your grades manually, you can do this here. You're probably going to want to automate that feature, though. But you can kind of see here just in the headings, these announcements allow students to know, okay, this is what's going on here, this is what's going on here, stuff like that. And so I use the announcements. In fact, one of the things I do is I kind of write out the announcements in advance and set them to release ahead of time. And it allows me to plan ahead and say, okay, what do I need to make sure I cover this week so that students are able to get things done, learn the material. And so I use it personally as a teacher as a way of self-organizing and fixing various issues. But no. The features I've shown you up to this point are all features that the students can see. So like if I flip it to student view, you can pop into announcements when it loads. And you can see you can see all these different announcements. You can go into the modules. The syllabus is also a useful feature. And this is basically taking whatever your syllabus is and putting it in here. Some teachers, if you have like a document, like a common syllabus, you might just dump that common syllabus in here. And it also gives a course summary of when all the assignments are due and things like that. And it gives you a calendar as well. So today apparently is the 15th. Students, if they click on grades, now since this is the test account, the test student, it's going to look horrible. But students can also pull up their grades from their end. If a teacher clicks on it when they're in teacher mode, you get the grade book, which you use to synchronize automatically with Skyward in on our school building. But no, you can see that the test student has not done a lot of assignments. But no. So the purpose of this presentation is just to kind of give you a tour of, and this is what my classroom looks like about halfway through. We're in the 4th quarter right now of a 2-quarter long course. But no, so that's kind of the idea behind this. If you have questions, you can post them in the comments below. If you're one of the people in my school district and you're curious about things, you can drop me an email. There's ways of contacting me. In any case, I do hope this little tour video helps. Oh, one detail for future reference, this does not use the template, the course blueprint that we're using. because that is under construction at the time of the making of this video. So I hope that we hope that we'll have a course tour video, a blueprint that teachers in our building can use to kind of structure their course. Ultimately, how you structure the course is up to you. We just have this computer program that allows us to organize things and allows the students to view all their courses all in one place and access materials that way. So in any case, I do hope this helps, and until later.